arrived at 8:07 in the morning. Subject line, Finance Transformation Initiative. Maya almost ignored it. Corporate announcements arrived every week. Most meant nothing. She clicked, scanned. By the third paragraph, her stomach tightened. The company had deployed an AI platform, one capable of producing, in 15 minutes, the financial reports that once required her team 3 full days. That evening, she sat in the parking lot long after everyone else had left, and she asked herself a question she had never had to ask before. If the reporting disappears, who am I? Welcome back to the Winning Workspan Trademark Podcast. This is episode 4, and the answer Maya found to that question changed everything. Chapter 6 of the Winning Workspan is one of the most honest and practically useful chapters in the book. Not because it offers comfort, it doesn't especially, but because it names something most career books dance around. Reinvention is hard. It is emotionally hard. Not just logistically complicated, emotionally hard. Because what you are reinventing is not just a job description. You are reinventing an identity, a self-concept, the story you tell yourself about who you are and what you're worth. Dr. Chatterjee approaches this with rare clarity. He doesn't minimize the difficulty. He doesn't offer a 3-step formula that makes it feel easy. He gives you a 4-step framework: recognize, release, relearn, reinvent. And he's honest that step 2 is the hardest one. But first, the monkeys. Dr. Chatterjee borrows the monkey metaphor from classic management thinking and applies it with precision to career identity. The monkeys on your back are everything you're carrying that used to serve you and no longer does. He identifies 4 categories. First, obsolete skills. Capabilities you spent years mastering, that the market has stopped pricing at a premium or stopped paying for at all, but that you keep polishing, keep certifying, keep leading with in conversations. Because they're yours, and letting go of them feels like letting go of something you worked too hard to give up. Maya's financial reporting expertise was an obsolete skill monkey. Technically impeccable, highly developed, and being quietly commoditized by a software platform in real time. Second, limiting beliefs. The internal narratives that cap your ambition before you've even tried. I'm not a people person. I'm not a numbers person. I'm too old to learn this. I don't have the right background for that role. That industry doesn't hire people like me. Here's the disturbing thing about limiting beliefs. They feel like self-awareness. They feel like clear-eyed realism. And most of them were never tested. They were inherited from early experiences, from feedback received before you were fully formed, from comparisons made against the wrong reference points. Third, career baggage. The old grievances. The promotion you didn't get and never quite stopped resenting. The manager who underestimated you. The company that laid you off during the month you thought you were finally secure. Baggage is energy. Specifically, it is future energy being spent on past events. And every unit of energy spent on resentment is a unit not available for what comes next. Fourth, fear of change. The most universal monkey, and the one that most skillfully disguises itself. Fear of change wears many masks. Prudence, stability, loyalty, timing, responsibility. I'll make the move after the kids are through school. I'll pivot once I've paid off the mortgage. I'll take the risk once the market settles. These are sometimes real constraints. Often they are fear speaking in the voice of reason. Maya's response to the AI disruption email was textbook monkey behavior. She criticized the AI platform, pointed out its mistakes, which were real, defended traditional processes, made the case that human judgment couldn't be automated, and privately hoped it would fail. Sound familiar? Dr. Chatterjee's reinvention framework has 4 steps. They sound clean when listed. They are significantly harder to execute than they sound. Step 1. Recognize. You cannot release a monkey you won't admit you're carrying. This sounds self-evident, but consider how rarely we do a real audit. Dr. Chatterjee's recommendation is an annual monkey audit, structured around 4 questions. Which of my current skills would I not bother learning today, from scratch, given what I see in the market? Which of my beliefs about myself have I never actually tested against reality? Where am I still investing emotional energy in past events that are over and cannot be changed? What am I calling stability or prudence that might actually be fear? That last question is the one that requires the most honesty and the most courage to answer truthfully. Step 2. Release. Slow. This is where most reinvention attempts fail. Release is not just a decision. It is grief work, and it deserves to be treated as such. You are letting go of a competence that once defined you, that people recognized you for. That gave you status, income, and a sense of professional identity. Dr. Chatterjee's suggestion is one I find unusually wise. Formally thank the old skill for what it gave you. Not ironically, genuinely. This expertise in financial reporting gave me a decade of excellent work, 2 promotions, and the credibility I needed to build what comes next. And then retire it, with respect. The professionals who skip this step tend to carry the old identity as an undisclosed conflict of interest into the new chapter. They're physically present in the reinvention, but emotionally still fighting for the thing they gave up. Step 3. Relearn. With your hands free, apply the master learning loop from Chapter 4 to the new domain. 2 powerful accelerants Dr. Chatterjee identifies. The first is adjacency. Your existing experience is almost never irrelevant in a new domain. It just needs to be repositioned. Maya's 8 years of financial analysis made her exceptionally good at evaluating AI output, because she knew exactly what good analysis looked like. She became a financial AI strategist, not by abandoning her expertise, by extending it into a new context. The second accelerant is visible work. Building a portfolio, a set of projects, or a documented track record in the new domain, so that the market can see the new you, not just the old resume. Credentials in the past get you in the door. Demonstrated work in the present gets you the opportunity. Step 4. Reinvent. Integration. And crucially, a new story. Pivots succeed or fail on narrative. The way you explain your reinvention to the market, to potential employers, clients, investors, collaborators, determines whether people see a coherent arc or a desperate leap. I left financial reporting because AI replaced it is a victim's story. I spent 8 years developing deep financial analysis expertise, and I now apply that judgment to evaluating, directing, and optimizing AI-generated financial intelligence is a reinvention story. Same facts, entirely different market value. Maya's reinvention narrative, when she finally wrote it, began with a sentence that surprised even her. AI didn't end my career as a financial analyst. It revealed what I was actually good at, which was never the reporting. It was the judgment behind it. Chapter 7 shifts from the emotional architecture of reinvention to the practical toolkit. Dr. Chatterjee identifies 7 competencies that compound for 40 years, while technical skills come and go around them. He calls them the always-on background processes of the career operating system. Competency 1. Communication. The universal multiplier. Every other competency you possess, technical expertise, strategic thinking, emotional intelligence, is throttled by your ability to transmit it clearly. And communication has 3 components that need separate development: written, verbal, and listening. Listening is the rarest, and the one most directly in tension with the confidence that senior professionals tend to accumulate. Competency 2. Collaboration. The ability to do meaningful work with people who are different from you, in function, in background, in personality, in geography, without requiring them to become like you first. In an AI world, this competency becomes more important, not less, because the highest value work increasingly lives at the intersections between disciplines, between cultures, between the human and the machine. Competency 3. Critical thinking. And in the AI era, this means specifically the ability to evaluate AI-generated output with the same rigor you'd apply to any human analysis. AI is extraordinary at synthesis. It is unreliable at judgment. The professionals who know the difference and who can catch the confident-sounding error become indispensable. Competency 4. Adaptability. Not just tolerating change, finding the opportunity in it. Maya's turning point was the moment she stopped experiencing AI as a threat and started experiencing it as new leverage. That shift in orientation is adaptability in practice. Competency 5. Emotional intelligence. The ability to understand what's happening inside yourself and inside others, with enough clarity to make good decisions in high-stakes, high-emotion situations. Dr. Chatterjee is direct. EQ is the competency most correlated with long-term leadership effectiveness, and it is the one most underinvested in by technically excellent professionals. Competency 6. Digital fluency. Not the ability to code. The ability to understand technology well enough to make good decisions about it, and to work productively alongside the people who build it. Competency 7. AI literacy. This one gets an entire episode, episode 7 of this series. For now, understand the stance Dr. Chatterjee advocates. AI is neither magic nor menace. It is leverage. And leverage rewards the skilled hand. Dr. Chatterjee's prescription for developing the 7 competencies is elegant in its simplicity. Audit yourself against all 7 on a 1 to 5 scale. Find your lowest scoring competency that most constrains your current learning cycle, and train it deliberately for 1 quarter. 1 competency, 1 quarter, every year, for 40 years. That is a different kind of compounding than most people ever attempt. Your reflection questions for this week. First, what monkeys are riding on your back right now? Walk through the 4 categories honestly. Obsolete skills, limiting beliefs, career baggage, fear of change. Which category is heaviest? Second, audit yourself against the 7 never-expiring competencies. Score 1 to 5. Which one is most constraining your impact right now? Your action this week. Write your reinvention story in 1 paragraph. Not where you've been, where you're going, and why your past makes you uniquely qualified to get there. Then test it. Say it to someone who doesn't already know your background. Watch their face. Listen to their questions. If they lean in, you have a reinvention story. If they look confused, you have more work to do. Next episode, we climb into leadership. Dr. Chatterjee spent 20 years developing, testing, and refining his STEF leadership framework. strategic thinking, execution excellence, followership generation. He used it to mentor executives who became CEOs. He stress-tested it against real crises, including a production failure that was generating $1 million a day in losses and was being watched by a board audit committee. Episode 5 might be the most directly applicable to your day-to-day professional life of anything in this series. That's the Winning Workspan Trademark Podcast, Episode 5.